I don't know if you have been sitting around saying, you know who should really start a podcast? The wife of Stephen Miller, Donald Trump's advisor. I haven't been sitting around saying we need a podcast from her, but we are getting a podcast from her anyway. The wife of Stephen Miller, the architect of family separations, Katie Miller, has decided the world needs the Katie Miller podcast. She tweeted about this. Today, I'm launching the Katie Miller podcast. As a mom of 3 young kids who eats healthy, goes to the gym, works full time, I know there isn't a podcast for women like myself. Hope you'll join me. I did a quick search. There's apparently tons of mommy podcasts of women who have young kids, eat healthy, go to the gym and work. There's dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of those podcasts. But she needed one. She needed to make a podcast. And my takeaway is microphones are too cheap. Everybody can now afford microphones, and that's a real problem. So here she is telling us about her podcast.
Hi, I'm Katie Miller. Welcome to my podcast and welcome to my living room. You may be wondering what I'm doing here hosting a podcast. It seems these days just about everyone has a podcast. For years, I've watched from the sidelines as people I know, people I respect, have hosted TV shows, radio shows, podcasts,
She's right. Everybody's hosting a damn podcast.
Name it. And I thought, hey, I could do that too. And why? Because for years I've seen that there isn't a place for conservative women to gather online. There isn't a place for a mom like me, mom of 3 young kids, 4, 3, and almost 2, and a wife, and trying to do a career, eat healthy, work out. There isn't a place for a mom like me. And so I wanted to create that space where we...
Is it possible that she just doesn't have anything interesting to say, and that's why there's not a place for people like her? What?
Have real, honest conversations with people across the political spectrum and across the world to get lifestyle information, news, laugh with our friends, gossip about what's going on in the world from our perspective, from that of a mom with 3 kids who's trying to make every day be the best it can, from bedtime to bath time to breakfast in the morning to getting out the door for work and everything in between. A little bit about me. I've been a communications director to senators, to a vice president.
You know, maybe what she means by there's no podcast for women like me is we need a podcast for women who think Trump is doing a great job and whose husbands are in charge of locking kids up. I guess there isn't a podcast like that.
I worked in high levels of the U.S. government, and most recently, I'm concluding my time working full-time for Elon Musk. And so please join me for my podcast. We're going to do this once a week on Mondays to talk about lifestyle, what's going on, real honest conversations, none of the bullshit, with people from across the spectrum, whether that be politicians, business leaders, celebrities, musicians, artists, scientists, you name it, we're going to have it, because this is life about women, for women, with men too, talking about what matters to women. And that isn't just what everyone considers a woman's issue. Because
there you go.
What's a woman's issue? I have yet to find out. So join me every Monday.
Yeah. She's a big supporter of the self-described fertilization president, Donald Trump. So who does she bring on for her first serious interview? And I'm honestly asking the question here, who the hell would watch this? Like, who would even remotely find this entertaining or interesting? She brings on Vice President J.D. Vance for her first serious interview. And if you expect it to be an insightful and thought-provoking conversation, I don't usually think of J.D. Vance in those terms, but take a listen to this hard-hitting journalism. Oh my God.
On some Marco questions. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about Marco?
He also has a sweet tooth, which, you know, he's in great shape. He works out, but
really?
He can, house ice cream to the point where half the time that I see Marco in the hallway, it's because he's just been down to the Navy mess in the White House and he's gotten a bunch of ice cream.
Marco Rubio is known as a funny jokester.
By the way, I've had lunch in the Navy mess. It is very cool.
What's the funniest joke he's told you?
But the idea that Marco Rubio is down there getting ice cream all the time sounds a little weird.
Or the funniest moment you've had with him.
Okay, so you guys will have to determine whether we can actually put this in the
We
final.
can cut it if not. We can cut it if not.
So we were talking about something very serious related to the Middle East, and he starts this joke totally deadpan. He's like, I learned something interesting about the Middle East because I had a constituent call a few years ago when I was in the Senate, and a woman was visiting Israel, and her husband died while they were in Israel. And I was like, oh man, that's terrible. And she was trying to get help from us for how to get the body back to the United States. And she said to me, man, I don't know, maybe I don't want it back. The last time somebody the last time somebody died over
Isn't this so funny, guys?
here, they rose from the dead 3 days later. And I didn't know until the
Yeah, I get.
very end that it was a totally bullshit joke. I was like on the edge of my seat, like what happened with this poor woman and her husband? But, he's got jokes. He's got a lot of Florida man jokes.
Yeah, he does.
Because, you'll take some crazy story from the Jacksonville Times and then it ends up you think it's a joke, but it's actually something that actually happened in the Florida Panhandle.
Anyway, so I've been able to recover from how funny that was to be able to kind of discuss this in a more serious way. I think so obviously this isn't journalism. This is a friendly platform rather to sell talking points. There's not really any cultural commentary. It's kind of political marketing, and they're trying to dress it up as mom content. That's what this is really about. But there's a bigger story here, and I got to hand it to him. And there's an important takeaway. The right does know how to build influence. Now, I see this show and I go, oh my goodness, I'm despondent after 15 seconds. I would be looking for an ice pick to gouge my ears out after a few seconds. But to the extent that they build this ecosystem, and they've got the momfluencers and the lifestyle podcast and the gym bros and all that, and they funnel audiences into a political worldview. This is more overtly political, but there's a lot of them that they're less overtly political, but they're still sort of like red coded, we might say. They are effectively doing this. So yes, the microphones are too cheap. And when you combine cheap microphones with Stephen Miller's politics, you really get something that is part of the machine that the right has built, and they crush the left with it. They just do. Okay. So I want to apologize for my mullet type thing that I've had today. It's been so great being back and having you, and Dan Coe was awesome last week. Producer Pat has some great stories picked out for the bonus show, including what is happening in Vegas. There is a real problem in Vegas with tourism. We've got a U.S. reward for the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. What exactly is Trump thinking with this? Great bonus show. Sign up at joinpakman.com. I would love it if you also got on my free newsletter at substack.davidpakman.com, where soon I will be having a live conversation with Robert Reich. It's going to be phenomenal. We'll see you on the bonus show and back here tomorrow.